In the spirit of reconciliation, We Are Theatre and Theatrically Loud acknowledges the traditional custodians of country throughout Australia and their connections to land, sea and community. We pay our respects to their elders past, present and extend that respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples today.
Hey theatre fans, one and all, we are here with wannabe Aussie Lauren Byrne. Hello Lauren, how you going?
I am a wannabe Aussie, guys. I really am.
Guys, this is the first return member, first timer on this podcast, but I've had her on one of my other shows, so make sure you finish this episode and then go listen to the Queendom podcast episode. That was 6 months ago. And
oh my goodness, I know.
It's been a hot minute. A lot has changed in your life as well.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I know it really has actually. But also, it's strange because a lot has changed. But also, I feel like I'm doing the exact same thing on the daily. You know, I'm still sat at my bedroom window, doing one-to-one things on Zoom, and that's still happening very regularly, far too regularly for my liking. To be quite honest, as much as I love my students, I'm bored now. I want to go back to bed.
Yeah. That's me. I'm like filling myself with so many like side projects. I'm going back to work full time now, and I'm like, I don't have time to breathe. Like I'm good to like, oh my god, it's insane.
I feel like we have all kind of created in this time like ways to keep busy, which is obviously so fantastic. But also it's like when it's not the thing that you actually love doing and want to be doing for your career, you're like, oh my god, okay, I'll go and do another nannying shift then, I suppose. It's just not.
I'm literally going to work full time in construction.
Oh like my gosh.
I'm like, this like ain't me, but let's see how this goes.
Yeah, exactly.
So last we spoke, one, you were still with the UK tour cast of 6. So let's rip that band-aid off early so we can move on to happier things.
Yeah.
Where did that decision come from? Was that always something that you had planned? And for those that don't know, Lauren's obviously in the UK. She's a part of the UK tour cast.
Yes.
Or was a part.
Yes.
But yes. So where did that kind of stem from?
Well, I actually had no plans to leave the show. I think a lot of people kind of thought that it was something to do with my contract being up or things like that, which was why I left. But, all of the girls in my cast, we were all signed on for the same amount of time. And when we went into lockdown in March 2020, we were kind of told, not straight away, but after some time to kind of work it out, that when the theatres did reopen, whenever that may be, we would have the remainder of our contract left to play out with the cast, with the show. So that was obviously I think it was like March 16th or 17th or something that the theatres closed, and our original contracts were due to finish in July. I think it was like the 20 something of July. So we had about 19 weeks left of the contract, 19-20 weeks left of the contract. So we were all kind of just thinking, oh yeah, it'll just be a couple of weeks and then we'll be back to work, shouldn't be a problem. So everyone signed on for that. We were all on board. And then obviously the drive-in was a potential thing that was going to happen. That was going to be a separate contract, so it wouldn't take away from our weeks actually on the UK tour. Then obviously that was pulled, and then things just kept getting pushed back and pushed back and pushed back, and so other things started to crop up, pop up, and as in audition wise, and I think kind of everyone at that point, which was maybe like September time, I would say, I think everyone was just thinking like, oh my god, like, we don't know how long this is going to go on for. We knew that the producers of Six were quite keen to recast the tour at some point, because they wanted to give that amazing opportunity to other people, which is totally understandable. So I think everyone was kind of in the mindset of if we're going to be able to get other work elsewhere, then that's probably going to be quite a beneficial thing to do. So I went for a couple of auditions for a show that I'm still not allowed to talk talk about. But I think the announcement must be coming pretty soon. When's this episode going to be released, Josh?
This is literally releasing tomorrow.
Okay, I shouldn't talk about it then.
I
shouldn't talk about it then.
Let's play it safe.
But so essentially, I went for this job and I got it, and you know, it really broke my heart actually.
I remember reading the message, and you could see, like, you could read in your caption on the photo, like,
yeah,
how like torn.
Oh my God, completely. And for a long time I was trying to see if I could do both, you know, because then there was talk of, you know, 6 going to Salford over Christmas, and that was going to be like, you know, 8 weeks or something in total. And I was thinking, well, maybe I could do 8 weeks of the contract just to say goodbye to the show before I would need to then leave to start this new job. And we were kind of trying to negotiate that with my agent and the producers, but I think it wouldn't have been fair on the girls in the cast and the producers having to recast so quickly and things. So that is essentially when I had to make the really horrible decision, and I really, really hated making it, and I've still got massive FOMO, like so bad. So but you know, unfortunately in our line of work, my agent always says, he's like, just go where the work is, Loz. And you know, 20 weeks left in that contract that we had. Unfortunately, I couldn't turn down a longer stable stint of work, you know, for those 20 weeks, which I would have obviously loved. And it's so sad. But I know that it was one of those things where, like, I knew that I was making the right decision, but I was honestly so gutted about it. Like, and everyone around me was like, are you sure this is the right decision then? Like, you seem really upset. And I was like, no. I know that it's the right thing to do for my career, but I was so gutted. I just love, there's nothing, I mean, you guys know, there's nothing like it. Like, it's just the most, you know, supportive, welcoming, incredible kind of group of people that I just absolutely loved spending every day with. So the thought that I wasn't going to do that was really, really gutting.
Yeah. For those of you that haven't been in the Queendom or haven't seen 6, you're missing out for one. But like, a very special vibe in and around this show, that once you kind of get that taste of it, it's really hard to step back. And I did that at the end of the year as well. Like, I've been out of things for about 3 months now, and I'm like, I like just missed the vibe, you know? Like, so
100%. It's just so, like I say, it's like I've never experienced anything like it in this industry before. It's so it's just such a celebration of kind of, you know, people's individuality, and that actually is something that I think people are really searching for in their lives right now, in this kind of whole mess of crap that's going on in the world. People are really looking for that. And so, like, to then be able to go and sit in a theatre and see a show that literally does that for, you know, 80 minutes, it's just so amazing. And so to be part of that was just something really, really special. And you know, when I did leave, I sent all my kind of messages around to everyone in the kind of creative team, and I was like, thank you so much, I love you, please let me come back one day. Because I'm not ready to think that I'm done forever. Hopefully I'll be back in that costume one day.
Fingers crossed. On a brighter note, we've ripped off the Band-Aid now. We can go happy. Something to come out of the last, I'm pretty sure, no, it was launching just as we did the episode, because it was in 3.
You're so right.
Because that was the promo. Yeah. So how has that been going?
Do you know what? It's so great. We did we did about, how many weeks did we do? I think we did like 5 or 6 weeks, I want to say, in a studio before maybe it was longer, maybe it was like 8 weeks, I can't remember, but we did a certain amount of time like in person, which was honestly the best freaking thing that I had going on at that time, because obviously it all kind of happened at once. So that time when In 3 was launching was the time when I actually, unfortunately, was having to make the decision whether to leave the show. And I actually remember on the very first night, I was stood outside the studio on the phone to my agent, crying like, I just don't know what to do, Stephen, because I hadn't been able to make the decision yet, and they were kind of pushing for an answer. So that was having in 3 to kind of really kind of channel all my energy into was something like a really, really nice distraction and something that I really enjoy doing. And, you know, a lot of people have taken up teaching in this time, and it does feel like a very natural progression to go from kind of doing something yourself to then kind of trying to teach everything you know, or
it's also not an easy progression either. Like it's
that's
it's
true.
Not something that's easy to do.
Yeah, that's so true. And I think you know, why me and Harriet wanted to do it together was actually she as well as me, she has a real kind of sense of wanting to just help people like with who it's not necessarily about how talented you are. It's like the passion for it and the love for it and you know, like, again, which is a very kind of Six thing, is like celebrating your kind of strengths and not comparing what you can do to something that other people, you know, what they can do in the same kind of field. And within 3 we really wanted to kind of make sure that was one of the key things that we brought into the kind of vibe of the company, I suppose. You know, we never wanted to kind of make it a place where people felt like they needed to feel competitive. And you know what, we had the most amazing time in you know, those few weeks that we were able to be in person. And then since then we've kind of done some stuff online. We do 2 classes a week at the moment, just to kind of keep things ticking over, and they're always so brilliant. And we really have kind of managed to get just both in person and online, like you know, there's never any judgment from anyone towards anyone else, and that's just such a great thing that I think it's actually quite rare in our industry. You always are going to be judging yourself, and you are always kind of unfortunately feel like you are being judged by other people, whether it's a casting director or you know, another girl in an audition who's like absolutely killing it whilst you feel a bit awkward, or, you know, there's always going to be those kind of situations where you feel like you're being judged, even if it is by yourself. And so I feel like to create an environment where you kind of don't really give a crap like about whether you've just made a ridiculous noise and it's not gone well and you've made a bit of a fool of yourself, and it's just having that freedom to kind of, you know, do those things that you might otherwise feel embarrassed about and not care. I think that's a really, like, something that I found when I was training at GSA, which was the drama school that I went to, was that they really gave us that place to be just stupid and goofy and silly and or like really, really mess up and it not matter. And so me and Harriet both just really wanted to kind of give that place to other people. So hopefully I feel like we've kind of started really being that for some people, which is really nice. So yeah, it's going good.
You can see, like, I like just hearing you talk about it, like, you can see the passion that you have.
Yeah.
Like, not only for what you're doing, but for why.
Oh, 100%.
And I think, and that's like the thing that I think, as you said, a lot of people have gone out and found that alternate escape or way to be creative in some way through this time, however hard or simple it may be. It's just really cool to see people take their passion and be like, cool, how can I still do what I love just in a different format?
Yeah.
Or like, yeah.
100%, yeah, and In3 really has been that for me and Haz. I think, like, you know, you want to have something that kind of keeps you creatively fulfilled while you are doing your nannying job, or, you know, your job in Tesco's, or, you know, in this time there has to be something that, you know, keeps you connected to the world that you love, and that's really kind of, In3 has really been that for us, and hopefully we've then been able to provide that for other people. It's really actually so lovely. Like, every now and again I'll see kind of honest students, like, they've kind of shared that they're doing something, a concert or whatever it is, and sometimes they'll have like continued their training at In3 Arts, and I'm like, oh my gosh, they think that we're good enough that they've put it in their bio. Okay, like, it's just so lovely, you know. So yeah, I'm glad that we can be that for people. That really makes me happy.
100%. For you guys that want to potentially learn from Lauren and Haz, 100%. I'll pop all the links down below for socials and websites. You guys, check that out below. So make sure you are doing that. And then we can move on to the most stylish trio in the UK as well that you've got going on.
Oh my gosh.
With Charlotte and Hope. And Remember Monday.
Yeah.
Which is like, what don't you do? Like, is there... You're kind of like me. It's just like, let's just throw it.
I know. Fingers in all the pies, you know. No, do you know what? We have been like best mates since we were about 17, I think. So we've been like singing together that entire time, and actually only maybe, oh no, it's still quite a long time ago.
We just paused.
Now. Oh,
I was just your 6,000th follower on Instagram.
Yes. Thank you. We've been trying to hit that barrier for a while, you know. But yeah, we met at sixth form college, and we essentially like never used to go to our classes because we would just go and sing in a room somewhere together, and like the teacher would just kind of pop her head in and be like, "Oh, are you coming to class today?" And we'd be like, "No, see you in a bit." Like, so it was really, we just kind of started it off like because we loved it, and we kind of all discovered that we were, you know, really in tune with the kind of music that we listened to and wanted to kind of sing, and we've always really loved like those kind of intricate harmonies, and that was something that we just used to love to play around with. And then a few years into doing that just for fun, like we would, like a couple of times a week, we'd just go over to Holly's house and sit in her dining room, which had really nice acoustics, and we would just like belt our hearts out, bless our souls. And then a few years in, I said to the girls, I was like, "Girls, I've written this song, like do you want to hear it and maybe like sing it?" And so we did, and luckily they kind of, you know, said that they liked it, so I wasn't too embarrassed. And then and then from there we kind of just kept rolling with that. We, you know, I wrote more and more music for the band, and then we kind of got to a point where we were like, "Hey, shall we record some of this?" And we were still Houston at the time. Before we were Remember Monday, we were Houston, and then we released, was it 3 songs? I think we released 3 songs, which when I listen back to them now, I'm like, bless my little soul. Like, that's it's some interesting things going on in those songs, but one of them is a real banger still, to be fair. One of them we still do at all the gigs. But so then we rebranded, we were Remember Monday, we went on The Voice, which was so fun. And then, yeah, we've got new music coming out again soon that we're kind of, you know, still in production at the moment, and then we're going to get it released later this year. So yeah, we've got all the things going on. But again, like that band for me is totally just like something that I have always loved doing, that it feels creatively fulfilling. You know, it's something that I like have an active role in the creation of the music. You know, it's not just that I'm, even when you're in a show, you know, if it's a show that's been kind of running for a long time, it's very much like, okay, so, you know, on this line, you're going to walk over to this table and you're going to pick up this prop, and can you say the line a bit more like this? And so again, even though you're doing that massively creative job where you're putting your heart and soul into it, sometimes it's not that much imagination needed, you know. So even when I'm in work, I love having the band to kind of fulfill that creative need, and it's just something that all of us love. And you know, we all write things together now, which is always just such a kind of fun, like Zoom session at the moment, obviously, rather than in-person session. We write things together, and like a lot of planning goes into the outfits, and it's just so like fun. I just absolutely love it, and we all do, and that's why it's lasted so long, because, you know, we've all been, since we met, we've, you know, Holly was on a world tour for 2 years, and, you know, I was training for 3 years, and it so easily we could have just kind of thought, oh, that was good fun, and parted ways, and still been friends, but not done the band anymore. But it's just a mutual love of it that's kept it going, and we're all of us kind of, I think, really grateful that we have it, to just, you know, either, it's not so much fall back on, it's always something that we kind of like to keep ticking along at, no matter what we're doing. So yeah, we love it. We'll probably be Remember Monday in our 80s and still be releasing music, and not much has happened for us, but still just loving life.
I just had like this flash of like Golden Girls.
Yeah, that'll be us. Yeah.
Oh my god, Instagram will be on fleek.
Yeah. Yeah. Holly's a very good Instagrammer. She's on top of the Instagram.
And I'm scrolling through the feed. It's like literally, it's gold. Guys. If you're listening to this, just jump on because it's like so aesthetically pleasing. Like just all the vibes. It's just good vibes. Where did Remember Monday come from?
Well,
like, is there a meaning behind that?
Yeah, we actually, like, you know, I said that we always used to go to Holly's house and sit in her dining room, and that was always on a Monday. I think we must have had loads of free periods or something on a Monday, and Holly's house was quite near the college that we all went to, so I think we just always kind of, you know, when we were in college, set it up that our rehearsal time was that Monday, and then we just, no matter where we were, it seemed that Monday was a good day for all of us. Like, I mean, obviously not when Holly was in like Singapore, but you know, when I was training, I would have like an early finish on a Monday or something. So it always just seemed to be that Monday was our day. And when we then looked to rebrand, we kind of we were making a joke out of it, really. We said maybe we should, you know, something to do with Monday, rehearsing on Mondays and blah, blah, blah. And then we were actually like, hey, no, that would be really cute because it means something, you know, special to us. And it's always been our kind of, like, we love Mondays. We absolutely, because that's been our time together and our time to just relax and have fun and have a bit of a jam. And everyone's always like, oh, you know, can't believe it's Monday again, start of the week. Whereas we're always like, can't wait for Monday, you know? So yeah, that just kind of, it was like a little personal in-joke, I suppose. But the more we said it, we were like, I think that sounds like a pretty decent band name.
Really cool. It just like sits really right. I'm like, this has got to have a cool story.
Sometimes it like sounds a bit tricky to say. Like if I'm ever kind of saying it in passing, I'll be like, remember. Like maybe maybe we should have picked something slightly easier, but it's stuck. So
as a segue into the next little segment before we wrap things up, before we hit record, you said something about having a go at an Aussie accent, and I will not let that slide without having that on record. So.
Do you know what it is? It's so, like, in lockdown, I've been going for my socially distanced walks quite a lot with my friend Nate, and every time I see him, he tells me about what's it called? Is it The Real Housewives of Melbourne? Is that a thing?
Yes.
Right, and he tells me about it, and I've actually never seen it, but because he tells me about it so often, he always does the accent, and so every time that I come away from spending a day with him, we just are talking in that Aussie accent all day long, and apparently there's a character in there who does it. Is this good, or am I terrible at it?
That's like
is it like more New Zealand? Oh, okay.
It's like it's very Oka, like it's very like that token Aussie accent that literally no one really speaks like.
Oh, damn it!
But like,
I'm so sorry.
People, it's actually not bad. Like I've heard way more worse attempts at an Aussie accent.
Thank you. Well, apparently
someone's definitely gonna clip that.
Yeah. Apparently, there's one character in this show though who says wow a lot, but the way that she says it, she goes wow, and so me and my friend, that's how we always say wow. We're like, oh wow.
And if you're wondering why the title of this episode was wow,
wow.
Oh my god.
Oh dear.
Oh, so it has been a year since you were last on stage.
Yes.
Technically.
Yeah.
A little.
I know, my phone keeps doing that thing where it like shoves my memories in my face of this time last year, and I'm like, can you
We're
not?
getting into that point.
Yeah.
COVID now.
Yeah. I don't want to be reminded.
What? I know the answer to this question, but what do you miss most about like being around the industry, like in an actual theatre?
I think with Six, it was obviously, you know, different from anything else. But with theatre in general, I think I actually, do you know what? Just before I came on this podcast, I watched a little interview that Toby Marlowe and Lucy Moss had done, I think with The Guardian, and Lucy said something so true about how kind of, you know, when you go and sit in a theatre and you're never sure kind of what's about to happen, and it takes you out of your day, so you might be rushing around and kind of, you know, living life, kind of trying to just get from one place to the next. You know, work is stressful and life is stressful, and then that, you know, 2 hours in a theatre or however long it is really just takes you away from everything else that you're doing. And whether you're in the audience or on stage, I really miss that escapism. I really do. And you know, being in the audience and just being taken somewhere completely away, and or being able to provide that, you know, being on stage, being able to be that escapism for someone. I really, really miss that. And obviously, you know, in lockdown, we've had some amazing kind of virtual theatre productions, like, you know, going on. And it's just such a testament to how incredible the people in our industry are, that people have created new things and new ways to do what we do. But actually, you know, in spite of that, it's like I still really miss the full experience, and I think everyone does, don't they? You know,
I agree 100%. Like it feels different.
Yeah,
like, it's one thing to consume it digitally, but like I had this issue with Hamilton. I've watched the Hamilton thing on Disney Plus once, and I will never watch it again because it doesn't feel the same.
No,
like,
yeah.
It's just, and I will bring this up just to rub it in, going back into a theatre here, and I'm in Australia for anyone that hasn't caught up on that, but going back into a theatre for the first time and just having a collective experience with 800 other people watching the same thing at the same time.
Yes.
It's different, and it just feels right. And it's,
yeah, I know. I miss that feeling, and I really miss, like, whether it's me sitting there experiencing it or whether it's me being able to provide that experience for someone. I miss it. And, you know, I also always think about my first theatre experience as, you know, like this kid who had been, you know, severely bullied and didn't have many friends and kind of didn't know that there would be a place in the world that I really fit into, I suppose. You know, I remember, I think I was about 13, 14, and I went and saw Wicked for my birthday, and my mum I'd never seen a professional show before, let alone, you know, a West End show before. And I remember just sitting there and like having a proper light bulb moment of like, oh my God, these people do that for money. Like that's their job. Like, I don't need to go and be an accountant or something. And I remember that light bulb moment happening, and every now and again, like when I was on stage with any show, I just remember, but it's, you know, especially with Six, I remember like kind of looking into the audience, because it's got such like an amazing young fan base. I remember looking into the audience and being like, I wonder if anyone's having that light bulb moment right now, like, because it creates other art, you know, and so being able to inspire someone to go and have an entire career based off of one experience that they've had in the theatre is just absolutely mental to think about, but it happens, and that happened for me, and so I miss being able to kind of think about the experiences that people can have in that theatre. It's never just, you know, a couple of hours out of your life that you just then forget about. It's like it can really change people and change what people want to do with their life, and I just think it's the most incredible thing. I miss it basically.
I just got me hella deep, man. I'm sitting here, I'm like, we literally wouldn't be having this conversation if it wasn't for an experience I had with Six, because then I wouldn't have been in New York, and I would have known who Toby and Lucy were, and I wouldn't have asked to start my original podcast, which would lead me to this point here.
Yeah.
This industry is incredible.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. And it will continue to be incredible, and it will continue to kind of grow and change with the times, and that's good, and it should. But I do miss it.
So, going forward to the show that must not be named, what are you looking forward to most about getting back to being on stage?
Oh my goodness.
a million answers.
Yeah, literally a million answers. I mean, like, I've had like costume fittings recently, and like I'm just about to go in and do some press. So I mean, surely the announcement's coming soon, guys. I don't know when, but surely it is. But you know, I'm just about to go in and do some press, and I've done like a couple of workshops in you know, before Christmas when things were slightly, you know, less tight restriction wise, and every single time I've done anything, I've had a feeling of like, oh my god, I'm going to be doing something soon, no matter what that is. And I think, like, even, I mean, who knows, you know, it could be a terrible show, I don't know. No, I don't think it is. I think it's pretty special. But like the thought of just kind of being back in a room with other creative people indefinitely is just so exciting to think about, because you miss that when you're, you know, in your room on Zoom all day. You know, you really miss the kind of you know, like I suppose, like I just said, in that, you know, art creates other art, and that's very much, you know, in a rehearsal room, if you're kind of bouncing off the things that other people are giving you, that's giving what you're doing even more kind of meaning, and you know, so I think I've been missing that, and I can't wait to get back to doing that. And I suppose the feeling of doing an opening night now is the most terrifying thing, the most terrifying thought I've ever had. Like, going back on stage and having to remember how to dance and sing and act all at the same time is terrifying. Do you know what? The other day, I did a workshop for someone who you know, normally I'll do an acting workshop or a singing workshop or a dancing workshop, and someone said, would you mind doing the kind of dance routine with the lyrics to it? And so I taught the lyrics first, and then I taught the dance, and then we put them together. This was for 6. I can't sing and dance anymore, I've discovered. It's impossible. I don't know how I did it. I literally had an asthma attack about 5 seconds in. So gonna have to get back on the kind of, you know, fitness regime, I think, because I literally couldn't breathe. That was kind of a roundabout answer there, but there you go. I'm missing being fit.
Whoever can make it happen, if you can please get me to opening night of whatever show Lauren's doing, just so I can watch her brain just trying to explode, trying to figure this out.
Literally.
Oh, guys, we are going to end this episode on that high right there. I know it's been short. I know it's been sweet, but there's going to be more. Next week, we are back with a brand new episode. Make sure you are checking out everything Lauren is doing in her life. Her Instagrams are down below. There's millions of them.
There is.
Well,
I've even got one for my dog, you know. My dog has Charlie and Gusgram as well. I have a lot. It's been a boring time, you know. I had to fill my time somehow.
Hey, I've got the same. I've got a million as well. All my ads are down below. I have just launched a fashion line, ladies and gentlemen. That's right.
Come on!
Incredible. It's insane.
That is so
you check
exciting.
that out at Offstage Apparel. I was about to point to the shirt that I got on, but you guys can't see that because this is a podcast. Head to Offstage Apparel. We have some samples up there for you guys to check out. It is launching very soon for you guys to buy, so make sure you're checking out that, telling all your friends and family and dogs.
Yeah.
I don't have any dog stuff, but I'll make it if there's a call for it.
Yeah, you should get that. You should, I think. There's a call for it right here. I'm calling for it.
That's it. It's done. Dog sweaters it is. Oh my God, I've missed you, Lauren. This is it, guys. We're going to wrap it up here before we go down another rabbit hole. We will see you next week with a brand new episode of We Are Theatre. Goodbye.
Goodbye.